What's up, guys? It's your coach Asia. I have so much information for you, so here we go. This one's about macronutrients. I get this a lot. I know you hear about macros and like TikTok, Instagram, wherever you hear about macros, but what is it and what does it actually mean? And how do we kind of use it for weight loss, right? So macros is that buzzwords, again, that we heard everywhere. And basically what it is, there are compounds that provide us with energy. They are split into three categories. You have your proteins, your fats, your carbohydrates, right? And no matter what, this is how we survive. This is how we survive in the world. This is how our body functions. Each one provides us with different type of functions. And I'm going to kind of break down that a little bit. So let's go with carbohydrates. So carbohydrates provide 4 calories per gram, right? So if you think about it like that, if you look at something on the label and it says 100 grams of carbohydrates, then 4 times, you get the drift in grams. So 4 calories per gram, okay? They're found in starchy foods like grains, breads, rice, fruit, dairy, vegetables, sugar. Remember, there's all these different types of carbohydrates and sugar. And it's also a very fast burning energy for your body. Proteins are 4 calories per gram as well. They're found in meats, fish, soy, dairy, eggs, nuts, legumes, all those kind of things. Protein is made up of amino acids, which are the building blocks for protein and help make muscle and tissue and just about everything else in the body. Okay. Then it's also a slow burning macronutrient. Then you have your fats. It contains 9 calories per gram, and it is important to help your body absorb fat soluble vitamins such as like A, D, E, K. Okay, and it also provides eating satisfaction, really. But fat has a bad reputation because it can cause a lot of health problems if you're eating the worst bad type of fat, or if you are too high in your fats, and et cetera, et cetera. And I'll get a little deeper into this about what that even means. And I get this a lot. Which macro is most important for weight loss, right? First of all 3 are. It's just about the types of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats we're putting in the body. Back in the 80s, when everyone was super skinny, everything was no carb, no carb, no carb, no carb. Now, there's several trainers that believe different things, but now carbohydrates are starting to become a fad. It's the healthy carbohydrates that are becoming a fad. And why? Because it gives us that fat-burning energy. And I'll talk about the healthy carbohydrates. The healthy carbohydrates are things like grains. If you look at the back of an ingredient and it says whole grains like oats, go for it. What it does is provides you with that natural sugar, but that natural high energy to give you the energy you need to move, to run, to do whatever you need. It also is amazing for fiber and digestion. So you have like your whole grains. Another great carbohydrate is fruit and vegetables. It's a natural energy source, a natural carbohydrate. Then you have your starchy ones. On the lower scale, you have on the scale we don't want to touch too much. White potatoes are really, really high in starch. We really want to stay away from those. But you have your sweet potatoes are low in starch, and you have your red potatoes, which are kind of in the middle, and you have a yuca, which is on the bottom. Okay, rice. Go with your grains, your barley. You need the fiber. Your digestive tract needs it. I know there's a lot of people who go off the ketogenic, but even with people who are doing ketogenic, seem to find out they can't poop or go to the bathroom, or they're super bloated, right? So remember, carbohydrates are amazing for the digestive tract, and they're amazing for your energy, okay? But for weight loss, how much carbohydrates do we take in? It varies, right? It's about the weight loss and the needs. It doesn't mean that macronutrients, especially in context, is a diet quality, but they just play a role in losing weight, and I'll go into that a little bit, all right? Let's see. Hold on, I wrote my notes down. Okay, let's talk about proteins. Protein. Now, you can consume too much protein, which is unhealthy for you, or too less or least protein. Figuring out how much proteins is always the tricky part. So when any type of weight loss, you want about 25 to 35%, and sometimes it go up to 40%. of protein. We don't necessarily need more than 40%. Our body just has a difficult time consuming over 40% of our daily macronutrients in protein, right? So we want to just kind of keep that in mind. I always say 25 to 35% is always a great way to kind of get enough protein in your body. And with that being said, that's probably like 0.5 to 1 gram of protein per pound of your weight, right? So if you're trying to lose weight, your goal is to try to hit that. So if I'm 120 pounds, you want to get at least 120 grams or less in protein, right? So maybe like 110 to 120 of protein, okay? If you are higher in your weight, I seem to always still stick with that percentage ratio in protein. And the type of proteins that we really want to look forward to is not pork. Pork, what happens with pork, it actually gets stuck in the digestive tract. Or your really big time fatty meats, right? We got to be careful of the hormone injection into the meat. We have too many of those hormones. We don't need the bad hormones. So when picking your meats, if you're still a beef eater or red meat eater, try to go for the grass-fed, very lean meat. Turkey as well. 93%, I always say, or above, 99% even better in your intake with your lean meats. Why? Try to also stay away from your processed meat, which is a lot of turkey cold cuts, your hot dogs, your turkey sausages. Yeah, just be careful, because sometimes when you're eating too much processed fat, processed meat, you're getting also a bad situation with your digestive tract, but you're also getting the bad fat. Remember I told you earlier about having too much bad fat? Not good for the heart, not good for your blood circulation and stuff like that. So the proteins you want to stay, but there's also proteins in foods, other foods like quinoa. There's proteins in seeds. There's proteins in nuts. There's plant-based protein. There's protein in soy. There's pea protein. So there's other sources of protein that you can take in besides just eating piles of meat. And if you want any more suggestions on that, please call me. I got your back. With protein and carbohydrates combination, there you go. So let's talk about now fats. When we're talking about fats, we want to be careful with the word fat. Fat is actually good, and especially for women. The higher the fat, the better as far as healthy fats. Healthy fats like our avocados, your seeds, your nuts, right? Healthy, digestible fats. And actually, you have your superfoods, which are avocados, is on the top of the list. Coconut fat, very good for you. If you're cooking with fats and you're cooking with oil, my suggestions is to go towards the olive oils, avocado oils, sunflower seed oil. Those are the really nice, natural, clean fats for our body. And what clean fats does is helps us to burn more body fat. It actually gives us more energy, and it actually cleans out the blood system. So here we go. So according to the National Academic of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, all right, health individuals and professionals always try to stay within these recommendations, and I get this a lot, of percentages on your macros, and listen to me really clearly. They want you to stay within, I would say, 20 to 35% of your protein. I always just say this, I just said that earlier, 20 to 35% of your protein for weight loss. If you're consuming carbohydrates, they want you to stay within 45%, 65% of carbohydrates. But a lot of trainers like me start a lot of women, especially women, but men also, who are overweight and higher in their BMI, and try to kind of decrease the carbohydrates to that 30%, 25 to 30%, and burn more of the fats, going into that. But for healthy eating, 45% of carbohydrates, 20 to 35% of proteins, and in fats, 10 to 35% in fats. Again, I try to finagle that number a little bit, so I'll say like 10% is a little low on my healthy fats for my clients who are premenopause, hormonal imbalance, inflammation, right? So I really try to watch that. And then also, sticking with something like, I would say, for someone who has a $1,600, my dog's barking, so I'm off, 1,600 calorie diet, you want to be careful to kind of break it up to, like, let's say, I don't know, let's just say 200 grams of carbohydrates, which is a lot for me. They're saying this in your science. I would actually decrease that a little bit to maybe like 150. 53 of fat, I'd probably increase that to like 60 something. And then 80 grams of fat, I would actually increase that to over 100 to get that muscle toning and body fat burn. okay? And that's just my suggestion. Now, to figure out how many calories you should be taking in if you're really not, so active in your workouts right now and you're actually just walking or whatever, I'm going to put an amazing little equation on the bottom. Play around with the numbers and get an idea of kind of what you want to be eating in calories for weight loss. So you get an idea about calories a little more. I hope this helps you to understand a little better of what we're doing here. But in all general, we are just trying to make sure the bottom line is that we always put in the healthy fats into our body, healthy proteins, healthy carbohydrates, and don't go for the processed foods. Your goal is to stay away from anything that's processed, anything over the sugar. And speaking of sugar, women, if you stuck within the 25 gram to 30 grams of sugar per day, men, 30 grams of sugar per day, you will lose weight. And I'll talk about sugar in another video. But yeah, stay away from processed foods. Stay away from them. This is not the way to go if you're trying to lose weight. Try to stay away from the box foods. Cook your food. There's a beautiful website called eatingwell.com that I'm obsessed with. Check that out and get some great ideas. I love you guys. If you have any other questions, I got your back. Woo! Enjoy this video. Take your notes. God bless.